Hello and welcome back to Man v Film. Time for another giallo review from the Italian collection in 88 films. This time it's movie number 38 from 1977, which is Watch Me When I Kill, directed by Antonio Bido. And this movie owes a hell of a lot to Deep Red. It just has it ingrained within the whole DNA of the movie. It's got this wonderful score that feels very much like Goblin. In fact, I was surprised to find it wasn't them that did the score. It's a movie that owes a lot of its kind of kills and pacing and look and style to Deep Red, but it never gets close to the originality or the surprise of that movie. This is a film all about a character who is dropping off at the pharmacy. It just so happens to have been a murder there. She can't get in, and she, although she doesn't realise it at first, has seen the murderer leave the building. Of course, she doesn't have all the information, but the murderer doesn't know that, and the rest of the film is basically the murderer killing off people for some reason that we're going to find out later on, as well as trying to take out what they perceive as the only witness to their crimes. It's a typical kind of giallo setup, but I do like that kind of setup. It's got the masked killer with the black gloves picking people off at the most inopportune times. It's got some varying degrees of kills around this, some of them more pedestrian, like a drowning in a bathtub, one that's more kind of just like, oh, that's disappointing, they've ruined their dinner there, when they kind of half cook, half burn somebody in their cooking meal. It's just kind of shocking, but it's one of those movies that takes a little bit of time to get going, a little bit of time for you to bed into the characters and the situation and what is actually happening and the people who are investigating this crime. And it's one of those movies that definitely has some high moments and some low moments. Whenever the kills happen, it really does build up the tension and the suspense. They're directed really well. They've got a great sense of atmosphere about them. The score just kind of highlights these moments and they become truly exciting, and they are spread quite well throughout the movie. Sometimes the in-between bits, the investigation, the parts of other giallos that I really do love seems to be missing here, and it becomes more pedestrian and almost uninteresting at points. It's one of those giallo movies that is good, but that's about the level it can reach. You know, it does drop down to kind of average and banal at certain time points as well. I kind of wasn't interested in a lot of the characters. You know, it wasn't people that I could buy into, that I wanted to see go on this journey, that I was afraid for, that I wanted to see unmask the killer and have the big reveal. It's just kind of typical characters that you find in these movies, and unfortunately there's no one that really jumps out, stands out, or creates that impactful persona that I want to follow within this adventure. Now, I do feel that the movie has some really great moments of suspense and terror and tension that they built up really well. The camera movements, the setup, the long drawn out stalking sequences where you're wondering, is this going to be a moment where someone dies, or is it a fake out? It really does tease the audience a lot. But like I said, other than the wonderful kill sequences, we move on to these kind of pedestrian mystery moments, and at the end of it, rather than the, aha, wow, what a reveal, it's just more like, okay, fair enough, that's a sound reason as to why that person was doing what they were doing. Fine. It doesn't have that cathartic reveal where it be utterly crazy or just, oh my goodness, it was that person doing all this. It's a decent enough giallo movie. Not one that I would scream to high heavens as something you've got to watch. Interesting enough, but definitely owes a lot to Deep Red, which for me is a standout giallo, and one that's at the top entry in my list of favourite giallo movies. Still, I would recommend checking it out if you have a gialli itch to scratch. It's worth that. The cover, it does owe a lot and gives an idea of kind of sleazy horror movie you're about to watch, but it never goes there. It never feels that sleazy. It's more ingrained within the mystery with some interesting kills along, but it leaves the sleaze at the cover. Let me know your thoughts on Watch Me When You Kill, or Watch Me When I Kill, in the comment box below, and I'll see you next time on Man v Film.